Look, what I'm about to say is the kind of thing people clip, take out of context, and get angry about. But it's a real conversation, and if you're honest, you've probably felt pieces of this yourself. Over and over, I keep seeing the same thing. Women in their 30s and 40s saying, often with genuine confusion, "Why don't men approach anymore? Where did all the good men go? Why won't anyone pursue me? Why is dating so brutal now?" They're not just venting, they are sincerely bewildered. And here's where it gets interesting. Many of these women spent their entire 20s living in public, posting every life moment on Instagram, sitting on hundreds of matches on dating apps, turning their image into content and their attention into a kind of currency. They became as visible and as accessible as humanly possible. And now? They're shocked that men don't seem eager to chase them. Meanwhile, the men are confused too. They're looking at these same women and thinking, "Hold on, you're everywhere. I've seen your stories, your reels, your vacation shots, your brunch, your gym, your opinions on every political topic. I know what you wear to bed, what you drink on Friday, what angle you think your face looks best from. You've matched with hundreds of guys. So what exactly am I supposed to chase? What's left that isn't already out there?" Something fundamental shifted. Women didn't suddenly stop being hard to get in the playful sense. They stopped being hard to get in every sense except the one men actually care about: commitment. They became easy to see, easy to access, easy to investigate, easy to predict. But commitment? Exclusivity? Emotional investment? That stayed guarded, or disappeared entirely. And somehow, that combination made them difficult to want. You've watched this happen. Maybe you couldn't articulate it, but you felt it. Women once communicated mystery, scarcity, and selectivity. Now the cultural message is abundance, exposure, and constant broadcasting. And men did what humans always do when the environment changes. They responded. They lost interest in the chase, because the chase got replaced with something that doesn't light up their wiring. This isn't a blame session. This is an autopsy of what happened when we traded. Scarcity for abundance, mystery for visibility, selectivity for permanent accessibility. This is about understanding why the old, hard-to-get dynamic vanished, and what replaced it. So let's walk through how we got from there to here. You need to understand something about the system that existed before social media and dating apps, because a lot of people under 40 have never actually lived inside it. When people say women used to be hard to get, they're not necessarily talking about mind games or manipulative tactics. They're talking about something much simpler and much older than psychology. Scarcity creates value. That's not a cute quote. That's economics. That's human behavior. When something is rare, limited, and requires effort to obtain, people typically value it more. When something is everywhere, easy, and free, people start taking it for granted. Now picture how dating used to work. You see a woman you find attractive. Maybe she's a co-worker, a friend of a friend, someone you noticed at a party or in your local bar. You don't instantly know if she's single, if she's interested, what kind of men she likes, her political views, her ex's face, her entire life story. You know almost nothing. So you have to do something terrifying. Approach, in person, in real time, with the possibility of public rejection. If she gives you her number, that alone is a little win. But even then, it's not like now. You can't shoot a half-hearted, "Hey," text and wait. You dial an actual phone number. Maybe her dad answers, or her roommate. You ask, "Hi, is Sarah there?" with your heart in your throat. If she picks up, now it's showtime. No memes, no emojis, no carefully edited voice notes. You have to talk. You have to be you. You ask her out, specifically. "Would you like to go to dinner with me this Friday at 7? Not vague. Not, "Let's hang sometime." A real plan that takes effort. And she calibrates her response. She may say yes, or, "I'm busy this weekend, but maybe next." She might return your call, but not right away. She shows some interest, but creates distance. She gives you a signal, but not everything at once. You both know what's happening. She's testing. Are you serious? Are you consistent? Are you actually interested or just bored? And you, as a man, interpret her selectivity as a sign of value. She has standards. Her attention is scarce. Time with her must be earned. The chase isn't just tolerable, it's part of the attraction. Because where there is effort, there is investment. Think about what this setup created. You invest time, energy, risk, and attention in pursuing her. She invests thought, judgment, and restraint in deciding whether you're worth her time. By the time you're truly dating, both of you already have something on the line. You've both paid something: time, nerves, vulnerability. The relationship has weight because it cost you something to build. But here's the key piece most people overlook. This worked because both sides had limited options. She might know 30 to 50 vaguely eligible men through work, social events, and mutual friends. She'd actually talk to maybe 10 of them in a meaningful way. She couldn't afford to be impossibly picky. Her dating pool was constrained by geography, community, lifestyle. She had to deal with reality, not infinite fantasy. You had the same limitation. You might know 20 to 30 single women in your orbit. Some were your type, some weren't. But you weren't flipping through hundreds of profiles in a single evening. You weren't discarding people like they were thumbnails on Netflix. Real life created friction. That friction created boundaries, scarcity, commitment. This was a functional market. Effort roughly matched potential reward. Scarcity on both sides kept expectations somewhat reasonable. It didn't guarantee happy endings, but it regularly produced actual long-term relationships. Marriages that formed after deep investment. People sticking it out because they'd worked to get each other. Everyone understood the rules and played within them. And then technology showed up and quietly erased every single one of those rules. If you're over 50, you remember when dating was entirely offline. If you're in your mid-30s to 50s, you lived through the transition in real time. You saw the before and the after. And what most thoughtful people noticed was this. Women went from gatekeepers of their own attention to broadcasters of it. Think about a woman you knew in the late 90s or early 2000s, before social media swallowed everyone's life. What did you truly know about her? What she looked like in person? Maybe where she worked or studied? A few things about her friends or hobbies? A couple of stories from conversations or parties? That was it. No instant dossier, no searchable archive. You didn't know her hot takes on every political headline, every vacation she took for the last 3 years, what she looked like edited with 7 filters and perfect lighting, what her bedroom, kitchen, gym, and coffee shop looked like, which celebrities she secretly drooled over, who flirted with her last week. You weren't watching her life on a permanent live stream. She was, by default, a mystery. You had to do the work of discovering her. Now compare that to a woman you barely know today, maybe a co-worker, or someone you matched with once, or a friend of a friend. If you look at her online presence, what do you suddenly know? Almost everything. You see, her political stance, her opinions on social issues, her morning routine, her gym selfies, her beach trips, her brunch photos, her girls' nights, her family drama, her soft moments, and her thirst trap angles. You know who she travels with, what she eats, what aesthetic she's going for. You learn all of this without ever speaking to her. Why? Because she's voluntarily broadcasting her entire curated self to anyone with a phone. Men in their 40s and 50s tell me the same story constantly. I matched with this woman on an app. Before I messaged her, I checked her Instagram. In 10 minutes, I went through 2 years of her life. I saw her ex, her friends, her opinions, her outfits, her vacations, her drama, her bikini photos, her deep captions. By the end, it felt like I'd already dated her and broken up. I wasn't curious anymore. That's the shift. Information that used to unfold slowly over months of real interaction is now dumped on you in minutes before you even say hi. And here's the cruel truth. Most people are not that fascinating when you see their entire highlight reel at once. But it gets worse. Because you're not discovering her. You're consuming content that she's crafted for everyone. You're not peeling back layers with intimacy. You're scrolling her performance. And men, whether they articulate it or not, start doing quiet math. If this is what she's showing everyone, what exactly would be special about me pursuing her? What access would I be earning that 10,000 strangers don't already have? Once that question lands, motivation dies. Now add in the attention economy. Women discovered they could convert male attention into money, OnlyFans, Patreon, brand deals, social status, followers, likes, comments, emotional validation, DMs, compliments, admiration. Every photo that gets 1,000 likes hits the dopamine system. Every thirsty comment says, "You're wanted, you're valuable." The lesson repeated every day: show more, post more, be more visible, be more provocative. More eyes equals more power. But they didn't foresee the cost. Because while they were optimizing for maximum attention, men were slowly noticing a pattern. The more a woman turned herself into a public product, the less she seemed to be genuinely available for one person. I heard this from a guy about a woman he dated. She had 15,000 followers. Her whole feed was bikinis, gym photos, heavily staged shots. Every caption was mini poetry, hiding that the real point was, "Look at me." I went on one date. The whole time I was thinking, this woman spends hours every week producing content for strangers. She's making herself sexually available as a brand. Then with me, she acts like I've got to earn her attention. Earn what? What do I get that her followers don't? I didn't go back for date 2. That's not bitterness. That's a simple recognition of misaligned incentives. When a woman publicly monetizes, or even just socially monetizes, her image, men start to see her less as a potential partner and more as a product. They don't want to be follower number 15,001. They want a unique role. And if there is no unique role, they disengage. I keep hearing something like this from men. She's posting provocative photos for validation from thousands of dudes, but gets mad if I don't want to commit. Why would I think I'm special? She's literally advertising herself to the entire planet. The attention economy promised women power. More eyes on you equals more high-quality options. More men wanting you equals better men pursuing you. In reality, it created a market flood. When every woman is posting curated thirst traps, each individual thirst trap loses its power. When everyone is available in the DMs, access stops meaning anything. And slowly, the high-quality men with standards, self-respect, and choices, start to step back and think, the women broadcasting the most seem the least able to actually connect. The more attention she farms, the less interested she seems in any single man. One man told me, I checked her stories. She had 15 of them in one day. Breakfast, gym, work, coffee, outfit change, lunch, sunset, selfie rant, night out. I thought, when does she have time to be present with anyone? Her life isn't being lived, it's being performed. That's the pivot point. Women shifted from carefully rationing their attention to mass producing it, from selective visibility to constant exposure. And men stopped experiencing them as potential partners and started seeing them as solo content creators who also happen to be single. Now layer on top the dating apps. These didn't just tweak dating, they rewired it. Women say, I match with tons of guys but none commit. They want hookups, they ghost, they flake. Where are the good men? Men say, why would I fight for her attention when she's clearly just sampling? I feel like one of 200 interchangeable names on her screen. And somehow, both are right. Here's the real psychology at work. A reasonably attractive woman downloads Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, pick your app. Within 24 hours she has dozens or hundreds of matches. A constant stream of notifications. Men sending clever openers, compliments, invitations. She's instantly living in abundance. But human brains are terrible at handling abundance. Research on choice overload is clear. Give people too many options and they struggle to choose, second guess what they picked, become unhappier with any decision they make. So what happens? She has 150 matches. That's chaos. She starts filtering, hard. No one under 6 feet, no one who doesn't make X amount, no one who doesn't share these opinions. Must look like this, dress like that, live like this. She narrows it down. Still has 30 guys. She starts talking to all of them, sort of. 30 half-hearted chats, shallow small talk, no deep investment in anyone. From her side, she believes she's being selective. From the men's side, they feel like contestants in a never-ending talent show where the judge is addicted to auditioning people but uninterested in actually hiring anyone. One man described it this way. We matched, great chat for a day, then she vanished. 3 weeks later, she views my profile again. I check her Instagram. In those 3 weeks, she went on dates with at least 2 other guys and posted both. Then, when those go nowhere, she loops back to me. I'm not a person to her. I'm part of a rotation. When a woman has 200 options on her screen, each guy becomes disposable. She's not building connection, she's shopping. And men feel that. So men ask themselves a rational question. Why should I pour real effort into standing out when it's obvious she's not genuinely invested in anyone? She's not building something, she's browsing. Dating apps promised efficiency. They delivered a paradox of choice that made women unable to commit, men uninterested in competing. The result? Abundance of options, scarcity of connection. Talk to men who dated before all this and then again after. They'll tell you something simple but powerful. Dating used to be frustrating, but it was interesting. Why? Because you had to actually discover a person. A man told me this story. In 1987, he met a woman at a party, found her interesting. He got her number, called a few days later. They talked for an hour. A few days later, they had dinner, 3 hours of conversation. Over multiple dates, he slowly learned about her childhood, her dreams, her fears, her ambitions. By date 4, he knew some of her past. By date 5, he understood her career goals. By date 6, he realized he was falling in love. They married and stayed together for 20 years. Everything unfolded gradually. Each conversation revealed something new. Fast forward to his life post-divorce, trying to date again in the modern era. He matches with a woman. Before he even sends a message, he scans her social media. In 10 minutes he knows her politics, her past relationships, what she did every weekend for months, her entire friend group, her body from every angle, her stance on every hot topic. He told me, by the end of that scroll, there was nothing left to discover. Any curiosity I might have had just evaporated. I never even messaged her. That's what disappeared. Discovery. The slow reveal. The excitement of learning something new each time. The mystery that makes someone compelling. Now, before you've shared a coffee, you've binged their highlight reel. Not their reality, their performance. And that destroys the spark of pursuit. Men keep saying, if I already know everything she shows to the world, what am I chasing? Women were told, if you show more, you'll be more desirable. If you're more open, you'll attract better men. But what actually happened? Visibility removed mystery. Overexposure killed curiosity. Constant broadcasting erased uniqueness. You can't be mysterious when you narrate your entire day online. You can't be intriguing when every opinion is in your stories. You can't create a slow, earned unveiling when you've already revealed everything to strangers. Men are wired to be drawn to the unknown, to be captivated by gradual revelation, to value what is shared selectively, not indiscriminately. When women made their internal and external lives a public feed, they unknowingly turned off the very instinct that makes men want to pursue. Let's come back to basics. Human beings value what is scarce, not what is overly abundant. Think about diamonds. If they were lying all over the sidewalk, nobody would pay thousands of dollars for them. The entire price is based on scarcity and controlled access. The same principle applies to time, attention, intimacy, access to your life. When something is limited, protected and requires effort to access, it feels valuable. Women used to intuitively enforce this. Not everyone got their time. Not everyone saw their softer side. Not everyone had access to their body, their thoughts, or their private life. That scarcity made them intensely desirable. Men worked for that access, and when they finally got it, they cherished it. Then social media and dating apps descended, and many women made their image globally visible, made their thoughts, opinions, routines, and bodies widely accessible, made their time and attention fragmented across dozens or hundreds of men at once. Men's brains did the simple calculation. If she's accessible to everyone, she's uniquely special to no one. If I can see almost everything without any investment, what's left that's worth chasing? You hear men say versions of this. Her Instagram is basically softcore content for tens of thousands of strangers. She's giving them what used to be rare: visual access, flirtation, intimate aesthetics. And then she expects me to pay for fancy dates and win some prize. What prize? She's already handed out most of what made her special, just not in-person access. This isn't men being cruel. It's men recognizing a basic market rule. When supply explodes, value drops. Women ramped up the supply of their visibility and attention to near infinite. The market did what markets do. It devalued it. And the tragedy is, most women didn't intend that outcome. They followed the rules the culture gave them. Be sexual, be open, be visible, be everywhere. More attention equals more power. More followers means you win. They got the attention, but not the commitment. High-quality men, men with options, self-awareness, and a sense of their own value, started thinking, if she truly valued herself, she wouldn't be giving everything away for free to strangers. She'd be selective. She'd create scarcity. And that is who I want to invest in. So the women who broadcast the most attracted the men who wanted easy access, hookups, fantasies, ego boosts. The women who stayed more private and selective attracted the rare men still interested in depth. And we arrive at a phrase I keep hearing from men. She's not hard to get, she's hard to want. These two states sound similar, but they couldn't be more different. Hard to get used to mean there is something valuable here. Access requires effort, confidence, persistence. The difficulty is a sign that what's behind the gate is worth knowing. The challenge was meaningful. You were willing to climb the wall because you believed there was treasure inside. Difficult to want means there are no walls left. The preview has killed your curiosity. What's already on display doesn't feel worth pursuing. It's not that she's mysterious, it's that she's overexposed and misaligned with what men want from a partner, not a performer. One man told me, I went on a date with this woman. Before we met, I saw her page. Bikini shots, gym selfies, quotes laid over photos where the real focus was her body. 20,000 followers. It was obvious she was curating an audience. On the date, she was nice enough. But I realized she's not looking for a relationship. She's looking for engagement. She wants fans, not a partner. I don't want to be another pair of eyes. I want to be someone in her life. Another guy said, I took a woman out to dinner. Before we finished the meal, she had posted our drinks, the restaurant, and a selfie of us on her story. She was editing the photos at the table. It hit me. She's not on a date with me. She's on a date with her followers, and I'm a background character. That's what difficult to want looks like. It isn't about playing coy or being too busy. It's that the woman's behavior, constant broadcasting, endless validation seeking, performance over presence, signals to men, this person is not oriented toward deep one-to-one connection. She's oriented toward audience management. And for a man looking for a partner, not a prop, that's an instant deal breaker. You can't be hard to get when you're effectively available as content to everyone 24/7. And once you're available to everyone, men no longer feel inspired to compete for what no longer feels rare. Right now, both men and women are looking at this mess and feeling lost. Women are saying, I did what I was told. I got educated, built a career, took care of my body, dressed well, got on all the dating apps, stayed active on social media, put myself out there. So why aren't serious men pursuing me? Where did they all go? Men are saying, I see these women everywhere. They're constantly posting, constantly matched, constantly surrounded by attention. Nothing about them feels like it's for me. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to pursue here. I feel like I'd just be joining a crowd. Both sides are actually describing the same phenomenon from different angles. Women really are getting flooded with low-quality attention and very little genuine pursuit from the kind of men they want. Men really are seeing an ocean of women who feel unpursuable, not because they're too good, but because they're too generic, too exposed, too audience-driven. The cultural story was, women, amplify yourself, show more, be everywhere. That will increase your power and your options. Men, relax. There will be more available women, less mystery, fewer games. Dating will be easier. Reality. Women eliminated the very scarcity that made them uniquely desirable. Men got the transparency they thought they wanted and lost the thrill of pursuit. Abundance replaced meaning. Accessibility replaced attraction. Visibility replaced mystery. The result? Women are lonely and confused. Men are unmotivated and disengaged. Nobody's really satisfied. If you're a man who remembers how it used to be, or even if you're younger but you feel something is off, what do you do with this? First, trust your instincts. If you look at a woman's online world and feel no urge to pursue, that isn't a defect in you, it's your wiring responding accurately. Men are naturally driven to pursue scarcity, mystery, selectivity, authenticity. When those elements are missing, when all that's left is visual performance and mass availability, your brain quietly says, no thanks. That's not misogyny, that's biology smashed against algorithms. Second, understand that many women didn't know what they were doing. These women were reacting to the incentives in front of them. Social media rewarded volume and exposure. Dating apps rewarded constant availability. Culture rewarded sexual openness as empowerment. They optimized for likes, followers, and infinite possibilities, not realizing that the cost would be the very thing they ultimately wanted. Long-term, deep, committed partnerships with solid men. You don't owe them a rescue from that. You don't owe individual attention to women who have publicly made themselves everyone's content. Your time, focus, and effort are valuable resources. You have the right to invest them where they have the greatest chance of producing something meaningful. Third, realize that some women still understand scarcity. They're not loud, they're not posting every hour, they're not trying to be a brand. These are the women who protect their privacy, don't turn their body into marketing, aren't juggling dozens of men at once, aren't farming attention as a lifestyle. They still believe in revealing themselves slowly, intentionally, to the right person. Those women are rare, and high-quality men, men who see through the noise, gravitate to them. If you want a real relationship, that's where your effort belongs. The rest, the ones endlessly broadcasting, endlessly matching, endlessly complaining about where all the good men went, are free to stay confused. That confusion is a direct product of choices they were told would lead to empowerment. Let's take this all the way back. You're seeing women say, men don't pursue anymore. You're seeing men say, there's nothing worth pursuing. Both are right, in a way. Nobody won when hard to get morphed into difficult to want. Women didn't gain real power through abundance. They lost the leverage scarcity gave them. Men didn't gain real satisfaction through accessibility. They lost the motivation to invest. The previous system had flaws. The chase could be stressful. The uncertainty could be nerve-wracking. But it worked more often than not. It forced real effort, real standards, real mutual investment. People stayed because they'd worked to get there. The new system offers infinite options with no depth, maximum exposure with no mystery, constant availability with no specialness. Women are broadcasting to thousands and ending up deeply alone. Men have near limitless visual access and feel no genuine desire to choose. Over the last 30 to 40 years, you've watched something precious collapse. Discovery was replaced by instant oversharing. Romance was replaced by content creation. Scarcity was replaced by dizzying abundance. Women traded mystery for visibility. In doing so, many accidentally traded away their strongest source of appeal. Men got exactly what they thought they wanted. No games, no barriers, immediate insight, and realized, too late, that their desire was tied directly to the very things technology erased. So where did the good men go? Many of them are quietly building lives with the few women who still understand the value of privacy, selectivity, and slow discovery. Or they've simply checked out, not as an angry protest, but as a natural reaction to a system that no longer offers what they're wired to want. Because here's the hard truth. When everything is abundant, nothing feels valuable. When access to someone is open to everyone, having them doesn't feel like winning anything. You don't have to apologize for feeling this way. You don't have to gaslight yourself into pretending that overexposure is attractive. Your instincts are not broken. They're reacting to a broken environment. The game didn't just change. The old game of pursuit, scarcity, authentic discovery was quietly shut down. What replaced it isn't really a game at all. It's a never-ending broadcast of abundance, paired with a deep undercurrent of apathy. There was a time when a woman being hard to get usually signaled self-respect and genuine value. Now, all too often, what you see is someone publicly available to everyone, yet shocked that no one wants to really claim her. That world of meaningful chase, mutual effort, and real discovery. It's rare now, but it's not impossible. It just doesn't live on the platforms that told everyone to turn themselves into content.